Welcome to the Vibrant Woman, Wealthy Women Within mini audio series. I'm your host, Heather Russell, and I'm here to guide you on the journey where intuition meets action and where your vibrancy unlocks the door to wealth in every aspect of your life. In this mini audio summit, you'll be guided by 8 wisdom keepers who've walked the path and are here to light the way for us all. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's dive into this transformational series. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to welcome Cherie Tripp. And for those who aren't familiar with Cherie's work, she is a passionate, high achiever, and recovering workaholic. After many successful years in the financial industry, she found herself stressed, exhausted, and on the brink of burnout. She came to understand that waiting for the weekends wasn't enough, and from this realization, she decided to take charge of her health. And now she specializes in helping other overachievers go from a life of burnout to one of unlimited energy, unstoppable confidence, and optimal balance. And today, we are diving into the power of positivity and how to break free from automatic negative thoughts. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Cherie, welcome to the show.
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So first off, I would just want to ask you to share a little bit of your experience with burnout or your aha moment that made you realize that you weren't in alignment, that you were living for the weekend, and how you got started in this work.
Sure. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, I spent many years in the financial services industry. So it was a very fast-paced world where we were going nonstop with there was always monthly, quarterly reporting. Something was always happening.
Oh, yeah.
And just, as you continue to progress up the ladder, the stress continues to pile on. And I think, seeing a lot of my colleagues and managers as well, how it was affecting their own health. And, actually seeing one of my managers get rolled out on a stretcher from like a panic attack was a real eye opener and was like, okay, hold on. Let's take a step back and really figure out how I can prioritize my health while still having a successful career as well. And so that's when I started taking some more courses and was, learning about health and just all of the different parts of health and, we don't always think about as well. And dug into the brain health and realizing how we talk to ourselves is half the battle and how that made a huge difference in my day-to-day life.
Yeah. I mean, the brain sends powerful messages, right? It thinks it runs the show. And it's often said that our brains are like command centers for all of our endeavors, right? From mundane tasks to like something monumental. But the health of our brains has a profound effect on our efficiency, our decision making, and our overall success. So, with our brains' well-being playing this pivotal role, which you mentioned, can you shed some light on how the health of our brain influences our potential for success and the ways we can enhance our cognitive well-being to achieve our goals?
Yes. So I feel like we don't always think a lot about our brains, but as you mentioned, like it is involved in everything we do. And that's like such an aha moment when we realize that how we think, how we feel, how we act and interact with others is all based on the health of our brain. And when our brain doesn't work right, we don't work right. Mm-hmm. And when our brain is troubled, we're likely to have more trouble in our lives. So we definitely want to have the healthy brain so that we can be, happier, healthier, make better decisions, and really be more successful. And what I found really interesting too about the brain is, the size of it compared to the rest of our body, right, it doesn't take up a large percentage of our body, but it has such a big impact. And to kind of just nerd out a little bit and give you and the listeners some interesting statistics, I think to put it in perspective is the brain, it uses 20% of the oxygen and blood flow in our body. So it's taking up quite a large percent compared to its size.
Wow.
Um, and I also learned that it has the storage capability of 6 million years of the Wall Street Journal. So that is how powerful it is. It holds on
Hopefully not
to,
crap like the Wall Street Journal,
yeah,
but I hear
well,
what you're
yeah,
saying.
yes, but it holds a lot. It holds a lot in there. And so it really is such a powerful, organ for us. And how it works is that with our thoughts is that every time we have a thought, our brain is releasing chemicals that's going to dictate how we feel.
Mhm.
So, our thoughts are real and they have a direct impact. And so I like to think about it like, if you have a mad thought or, sad or, just really negative,
Mhm.
then your brain is going to release chemicals that are going to make you feel bad. And if
Yeah.
we think about like the last time you felt, one of these thoughts, like how did your body feel physically? Because most often you're going to see that like your muscles get tensed up. Your heart's going to race faster. Maybe your hands start to sweat. So your body is reacting to the
Mhm.
negative thoughts that you have.
My
Um,
body burns when I get really upset. Go, oh, and then it takes hours to calm down, for your body to go back to neutral.
exactly, exactly. And so, but the good thing is like the opposite can happen with our good thoughts. And, so we find that when we're having those type of thoughts, a lot of times we're more relaxed, our breathing slows down, heart rate, again, there's more relaxed feeling. And so it's a total opposite. And so we can change how we're feeling relatively quickly based on our thoughts.
Right, right. They are powerful. Sometimes it's like in a lot of people who meditate, right? Meditation is you're supposed to be able to manage the mind chatter, and the mind is very powerful. And sometimes she does not want to shut off.
No, no, it's true. It's so powerful. But what I have come to learn too is that, our thoughts are real for sure, as we, just saw, but they lie and they can lie a lot. And,
Yeah.
we need to question and investigate our thoughts that we're having, because if we don't, we're just going to believe them.
Hmm.
And, that's when they start to manifest in our minds. And during my studies I found a really great analogy, because I'm a visual learner. I'm sure some other people are too, and so I like to kind
Yeah,
of
me too.
picture things. And so I learned of this great thing called ants. And we're going to compare our thoughts to ants. And ants also stand for automatic negative thoughts. So that's a good way to kind of correlate it. But
I like
it's
that.
thinking of, yeah, and it's thinking about like if you're at a picnic and you have one ant, it's not a big deal, right? So like if you have one negative thought, it's not a huge deal.
Hmm.
You start to have two or three, it becomes more annoying. But then when you start to get like 20 to 30, ants at your picnic, it becomes a problem. And if you start getting, all these negative thoughts in your mind, it's going to start to become a problem.
Hmm.
So that's just kind of another way to think about it, and how it really can start to spread in your mind and how
Right.
you're thinking.
And then it's also, right, having the consistent thoughts, whether positive or negative, right? It builds those neural pathways. So you'll be more pessimistic, maybe be more optimistic, but we're rewiring ourselves constantly, reprogramming ourselves constantly based upon those thoughts, negative or positive.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why we want to, take the time and be consistent with trying to turn around our thoughts, because the more that we do, the more automatic then we tend to get in the more positive direction instead of the negative.
Yeah. Let's talk about the power of positive thinking. And I think the depth of it really is truly fascinating and impactful, right? Because it's like our thoughts are like little seeds from which our emotions and then our actions grow from. And then that, like you had mentioned previously, it influences our reality, every aspect of our lives. So Let's talk about positive thoughts. So in your experience, how do our thoughts have like that direct impact, especially on feelings and behaviors? And you mentioned it a little bit, but let's go a little bit deeper into what this means for our daily lives and in the pursuit of success.
Yeah, so that if we find ourselves with, the negative thoughts, especially in success, and if we have our own businesses or in, a corporate environment and growing our careers as well, if we have the negative thought patterns, it's going to be a lot harder to achieve our goals. And I know, I'm sure you like me, we have lots of goals that we want to accomplish, and
Mhm.
it can be really easy to go down the rabbit hole of, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this. Someone else's, does a better job than me.
I know,
And
so bad.
we end up, depriving ourselves of things that we're worthy of and deserve. So I found that when you're able to take these thoughts, turn them into more positive, ways of thinking and rewire your brain, then you become more confident and you are able to stand up for yourself and know your worth and go for those opportunities that you may have been holding yourself back from.
So how do you feel about mantras and affirmations as a way of reprogramming the brain?
Yeah, I think that those are great. I love doing those, especially I find in the morning. So I used to have no type of morning routine. I would, sleep until the last possible second and run out the door and, exhausted by the time I hit my desk, right? So,
Yep.
but now I've really made an effort and have totally changed and tried to have a slower start to the morning where I can do some more self-care and
Hmm.
reflection. And I love to do the different affirmations and journal on them as well. And I think it sets you up for such a positive tone for the day. And the way the brain works, like if you do that, it's going to look to prove those statements true throughout the day. So then you're going to start noticing the more positive things as well.
I love that. And your statement just reminded me of that the brain loves puzzles. So if you were to be like, what if we were to find, I can't even think of a good example right this, but what if today was going to be the best day ever? Like, what would I need to accomplish? Right. And then letting your brain
Right.
solve that for you.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea, and that's so true. And yeah, it will help. Like it will look for things to, like you said, like solve that puzzle and find it. So yeah, so I think starting out, and you could do them anytime, of course, but
Mhm.
I find it's really helpful in the morning to just really set that tone for yourself.
I love that. So tell me more about your morning routine. I'm always very curious about people who have morning routines and what that's like, because I really believe we need to commit to ourselves and our self-care because it does set us up for success for the rest of the day. And then it really influences whether or not we're going to have a positive or have challenges throughout the day.
Yeah. So for what I do is there's like a few different things that I like to do. And again, they don't have to take a lot of time per se, but so I like to focus on my nutrition. So I used to never like feel very hungry in the morning. I would just grab coffee and be on my way. And that can really mess up with your hormone health and all of that as well. And so now just making sure I have a balanced breakfast where I'm getting in like protein, fats, and carbs. That's going to be really great for your brain health too. So you want to make sure that you're kind of starting the day off with some good fuel in you. So
Hmm.
I do that before I have coffee now. I actually eat. Then I like to spend some time either, journaling and doing a short meditation as well, because that will get me, as we talked about, into a really good mindset. And there's different apps to use. I like to use an app just because it gives me a timer and it gives me some guidance as well. But you can do it on your own as well. Kind of play around, see what works for you. And then I like to get a little bit of movement in. So just to, move my body after, being still all night. And
Mhm.
so I unfortunately live in an area with winter, so sometimes it's the treadmill. I know some people are brave and they'll even go out and walk in the snow, but if it's nice out, I'll get some fresh air. Else I use a treadmill, but try to also I'll be in a room that has some sunlight because getting the sun is really helpful in making you feel good as well. Any of us that have been in the gray, dreary weather, it really affects your mood. So you want to try to
100%.
find that sun if you can. Or I also tried this year one of those lamps that's kind of mimics the sun, which has been cool. So yeah, play around with that.
Yeah, I think most people are vitamin D deficient. So
Yeah,
just getting that
I think
little bit
so.
of sunshine first thing in the morning, even if you have to stand by a window and not go outside. Outside is best to be in nature, but
Yes.
stand by a window.
No, exactly. And it's not, you don't have to stand there for long periods of time. Like even just a little bit can make a big difference. So,
I completely agree.
yeah.
So thank you so much. This has been so good. Would you tell the audience about your free gift and where they can find you?
Yes. So you could find me on pretty much any social media platform at this point. I try to keep everything consistent at Cherie Tripp so that you can find me. Also, cherietripp.com is my website as well. And I have, yes, a free guide for everyone today. It's the guide to overcoming negative thoughts for a wealthy life. And in there, I'm going to go through, there's actually 8 different types of negative thoughts. So I'm going to go through each one for everyone so that they can kind of see if there's maybe one that they're doing more than the other and they're able to recognize it. And then also give everyone an exercise as well that they can do when they're having a negative thought to be able to take that and turn it around into a positive one.
I love that. That is such a great free gift because our negative programming, our limiting beliefs really they rule our lives. So that is a
Yeah.
beautiful gift. Thank you so much for offering that.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope everyone enjoys it.
Perfect. So thank you for being on the Vibrant Woman, Wealthy Woman Within, Cherie, and sharing all your insights.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed being on so much.
Perfect. And to our listeners, we'll see you on the next one. Okay, how awesome was that? Another powerful and simple technique to embody your wealthy woman within. And don't forget to head over to the speaker interview page and grab your free gifts from each of the Wisdom Keepers. I'd love to hear what resonated the most with you about this interview. Send me an email at heather@heatherrussell.co or a DM on Instagram at @theheatherrussell. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for tuning in. So much love to you, Vibrant Woman. And bye for now.